I'm going to show you 7 passive income streams that I use to build my wealth. And the best part is you can start building these too. I hate the term passive income. By the way, if you're new to the channel, my name is Brian Messenger, and I was able to retire in my 50s. But instead of not working, what is even better is making working optional. And I keep working because I love what I do. And now every single month, I bring in about $10,000 without trading my time for money. So no matter where you are right now, you can start working on these too. So the actual definition of passive income is money earned with little to no active involvement or effort. People think you just sit on a beach and collect money. That is totally not the case. It typically does take some time, some upfront work. It requires even some capital investments to get these things established. But after that, it can generate ongoing income with little to minimal ongoing effort. We're going to talk about what I call passive income opportunities, and for sure, these are totally passive. The first one is this. Obviously, we always talk about having no debt. So once you are in that situation where you have no debts, you want to start building up your cash reserves. What you want to do with that cash is, one, put it in a high yield savings account. It doesn't earn tons of interest, but it is the first way to start making passive income. And I've got a great story about a young guy that I knew that was saving up money to buy a house. And he had $50,000 or $60,000 saved up, and all he did was move from one of those regular savings accounts at a bank that's earning 0.001% interest, so you're earning like $1 for every $10,000 you have, and he moved it. But literally just by moving his cash from one account to another, he went from earning pennies to earning a couple $100, and that will start to build over time. This is the first and easiest way to generate super simple passive income. Okay, so the second way to generate passive income, and hopefully all of you are already doing this, is your retirement accounts. So whether you have a 401k, a Roth IRA, if you're like me and you're self-employed and you have a SEP IRA, it doesn't matter which one you're using, but if you set it up automatically and you have money coming out every time you get paid into your retirement account, over time, that account is going to grow and grow and grow. And it doesn't matter what happens in the short term, just every 2 weeks, have it happen automatically. Just use long-term dollar cost averaging and compound interest so that that account will build up over time, which leads me right into number 3, which is just your general brokerage account, which is a non-retirement savings. The cool part about this account is you can invest in things, pretty much anything on the stock market. So for example, in a 401k, you're limited by what your company sponsored plan is, and you can't always invest in a ton of things. So those are all super passive. I always say you have to live somewhere. And to me, it's much better for the long term to own rather than rent. Now, what I don't want to sit here and do is shit on people who rent, because sometimes renting is a good idea. You move to a new city, you took a new job, and maybe you're not sure what you want to do. And so you get into a lease for 6 or 12 months, and that is totally fine. And there are times where it totally makes sense. But for the long haul, if you're someone who's in your 20s and 30s, then owning a primary residence to me is a good investment. It's a forced savings account. You get money paid in there every month, and some goes to your principal. Obviously, at the beginning, a lot more is going to go paid towards interest, but if you're slowly paying down your principal, and ideally over the long term, 5, 7, 10 years, your house value is going to go up, you're building up a larger nest egg. It's a great use of leverage. If the house goes up 10%, it's going 10% up on the $400,000 price of the home, not 10% of the $40,000 of stock that you bought. This is just the fourth piece of an overall passive income strategy that, again, there is not a lot for you to have to do here. It's just eventually when you're in a community and you're going to be there for the long haul, it's a must to me for long-term wealth building to own a home. Here's some quick tips for beginners, reminders for you guys that you need to do in these 4 accounts that we just talked about is consistency matters. So even small, regular amounts, even if it's $100 that goes into your investment accounts, are going to grow over time, and just let compound interest do the rest. Be careful, especially with your 401k plans or even with brokerage accounts, about the fees that they're charging you. You don't want to have that eat up too much of your overall investment portfolio. And I know fees of 0.5% or 1% don't sound like a lot of money, but over 20, 30, 40 years, you'd be shocked at how much money you would have paid somebody. So choose the company and the platforms that you're going to use. So whether it's Charles Schwab or Vanguard or Fidelity, whatever it might be, just be careful and know what those costs are going to be. And if you need a referral to somebody, ask your family, ask your friends. I'm sure you'll get great referrals for people in your local area. And the third one then is you want to diversify. You want to spread your investments out across a lot of different options. And again, depending on your age and your time frame horizon, you want to balance that risk versus what you're investing in. So obviously someone like my kids investing in their 20s and 30s could obviously be more aggressive than someone like myself in my early 50s that is closer to that retirement age. So if you're not sure how to do that, there's lots of long-term like date funds where you can say, hey, I'm going to be retired and turn 65 in 2060, so that it'll automatically do that for you. Or you can reach out and talk to financial planners or CPAs, and they can help you decide on whether it's bonds, individual stocks, ETFs, mutual funds, whatever those investments are going to be, so that you are diversified properly. So you just need to know these things so you can make the best use of these initial passive income ideas that we're talking about. So before we get into some specifics about numbers 5, 6, and 7 and what I do and some recommendations what I think you can do, here's a few other things that you need to be careful or need to just be planning for when you're setting up these income streams. And one, you want to make it automated and low maintenance. Obviously, something at the beginning that might be more of a side hustle that can long-term be turned into passive income is something you need to think about. But once it's established, you don't want it to require a lot of daily hands-on work. It's something you want to be able to hand off to somebody else. You want it to be scalable, meaning many passive income streams can grow without you putting in a lot of extra effort. And that is something we really want to be looking for so that you can figure out ways to make more money without spending more time. Which leads into item number 3, which is that residual income that you want to have keep flowing in regularly. So in your investments, things like dividends or royalties, or if you have rental property, you have rental income, you want that stuff to be coming in on an every month basis. Some passive income ideas would be things like digital assets. So if you were to create a course online, for whatever your skill set is, it's a lot of effort and work at the beginning. Might be something that starts off more as a side hustle, but once those classes are taught, then it's something that long-term can be more of a passive income idea that started off as a side hustle. Another example would be a YouTube channel. So for me, these are starting off as a side hustle. I have a real estate YouTube channel. We're now trying to create this money and finance YouTube channel. And ideally over time, it'll earn passive income for me where we can create some courses and some information for you guys. So then there's some other automated businesses that you can do, things like drop shipping or vending machines, which at the beginning is definitely a side hustle. But if you started off and you only owned one vending machine, you're going to be the person that's stocking it, getting the money and funds out of it. But as it grows, and say you got to the point where you had 20 or 30 or 50 vending machines, now you can hire someone else to go do the work where now it becomes a lot more passive for you and it's more of their main hustle. But to be very clear, passive income and active income are not the same. So like my main job as a realtor is where I make my money, and I'm trying to figure out ways to take that money and create other income while I'm sleeping that some, again, start off as side hustles that eventually become passive income. So here's a few examples of what I do that started off as side hustles that eventually became, for me, passive income ideas. So the first one would be rental houses. Now, obviously, this is not a low dollar, inexpensive thing to get started on. This is something that costs a little bit more money, but it's something that you can work on down the road. And for me being in real estate, I know lots of people around the country, so I found other cities and other markets that make sense for me to buy rental homes. But the cool part now is I own some homes in the Midwest. I have a great realtor. I have a great lender. I have a great property manager. Once in a while, I get an email about a vacancy or a repair that might come up. Might be 5 or 10 minute phone call with my property manager. But at the end of the day, I do very little for that. And my rental houses alone by themselves generate anywhere between $4,000 to $6,000 a month in positive cash flow. Now, obviously, I have to put money to the side because when you own rental houses, things happen, repairs need to be done, maintenance needs to happen. But it is something long-term that becomes a really good passive income source. Another one that I've done through real estate is my property management business. So there was an Asian in my office. Her and her mom owned a property management business. I bought half of it from her. She does the day-to-day, 40-hour week. It's her job, does the property management. I only help people in there when they're looking to buy rentals or sell them. And then for me, every month I make anywhere from $2,500 to $4,500 a month in passive income. Now, she makes a lot more money in this business because it's her full-time job and we pay her a salary to do the work. And then her and I split what's left over as far as money goes. But for me, it's very passive and it became her main job, but it was a good spin-off from my regular real estate business that just made total sense for us. And then the last one, number 7 here, which would be more of a really long-term play for somebody, is a commercial office building. So 20-ish years ago, we owned our own real estate brokerage and we were renting from another building owner. And we realized that was really expensive. And we were able to buy a building and become our own tenant. And long-term, what's been great about that is we had a building from 12, 13 years ago that now is, 85% paid off and the value has gone up. We don't even own the business anymore. We now rent that building to somebody else and it generates us passive income on that every month. So these are 3 things that off my existing business created all kinds of additional revenues and things that are very limited on my time. If you're someone who wants to learn more about investing and feels like maybe you don't have enough money to do it, check out this video we did right here where you can use as little as $100 to start making your money make money.